away from the show, like when you're out meeting people, do people expect you to be funny all the time?
I think so. Yeah. Some people do. Like, I guess.
Is that exhausting? Or you just
No, because they learn pretty quick. You know what I mean? Like within the first couple like interactions, like, oh no, he's like an actual adult. However they take it, I think they notice like pretty immediately. Some are happy and some kind of want to hear a joke.
Right.
And I let a lot of people down with that, I think.
Hello guys, welcome back to Club 30. I'm your host, Henrik Lundqvist. I'm here with my friend Jay Lydell. How are we doing today, Jay?
Doing great. A little nervous for this one.
Oh yeah?
I just didn't know how to get ready for this guest. You know?
To me, he feels like a New Yorker, but he's not from New York.
No.
But he's been part of, I feel like, New York culture, for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Kenan Thompson.
Right. Saturday Night Live legend. There's no shortage of, Keenan material out there, and everybody watches, his sketches.
Yeah. And do you have a favorite SNL actor or guest over the years?
I grew up with, like Dan Aykroyd, Chris Farley, Sandler, Eddie Murphy at the very beginning. So I was really, really into SNL growing up because there's nothing to do on the farm. So I'd stay up really late until 11:30 and watch that. And then when life took over, sports and college and that, I kind of paused.
Yeah.
And I kind of relied on it to shoot out movie stars like Adam Sandler or Chris Farley or whatever. And so I made that connection, but I didn't really follow the show until kind of getting back to New York.
To me, Chris Farley really stands out. I mean, I can't watch one clip with that guy and not laugh.
Right.
Just his timing and energy. Even seeing him being interviewed on talk shows was the best.
Right. He's hilarious. And I think that we're older and now that, that era kind of concluded at the end of the 90s. And since then, Keenan has been, he's the longest tenured cast member ever.
Yeah.
And so that's crazy when you think about who he's in, like what his company is, who's alongside of him. And I think he's the only one that was born after kind of all the original cast members had left the show, so he brings this fresh new take on SNL that has been amazing to watch. But I don't know what he's going to be like as a guest. Like, should we be trying to, like, obviously we're not trying to be funny here, right?
Well, we'll see. He's the veteran for sure, but yeah, I'm excited for this one. Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Everyone, here's Kenan Thompson. He's the longest tenured cast member in SNL history. Some people say this guy invented the knuckle puck. Welcome to Club 30, actor, comedian, Kenan Thompson.
Thank you very much,
welcome,
man.
Welcome.
Getting intro by legends out here. I love it. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Great to have you here.
Yeah.
It was good to see you.
Over 20 years. That's how long you've been part of the SNL crew now.
Yeah.
Was that something you dreamed of, stepping into that role?
Not at all. I mean, you dream of getting on the show, hopefully one day, or being around it in some capacity, but it seemed like such a dream. Like, it was like this will never happen. Even when we were on Nickelodeon and kind of doing similar work and being around, like Chris Farley came to the show and did an episode with us and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But still, you know what I mean? It still seemed like a far-fetched, one in a million kind of lottery ticket kind of thing or whatever. So to actually get the job and then keep the job for a long time has just been crazy.
But so it was on your mind though already as a teenager because you were on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
You did different shows. But
yeah, and then
it was a goal.
I was lifelong fan too. Like I think I was real little when Hot Tub came out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like I remember like watching my dad watch Eddie Murphy doing his thing and stuff like that. And by the time I was middle school, and that's when like the Sandler and Farley and Chris Rock years and stuff like. So like that was when it started to become my show basically in that era. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was on my mind, but more so like a fan. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even know where it was. You know what I'm saying? Like I'd never really been in New York like that. I didn't know they shot in the building. You know, it was just like on the 8th floor kind of thing. You know?
So what do you remember that audition? It's a long time ago, but what do you remember?
I remember it vividly. It was a nightmare for me because I had to do stand up. Like a lot of like, you know, black comedians are mostly stand ups. There's, you know, a few that are in, you know, the improv houses like the Groundlings and such, but you know, a lot more that are stand ups, I guess. So it was just like a cattle call, and you know, the majority kind of wins, like the majority, you know, kind of style, I guess. You know, so they could see who can do what in the beginning. It was all pretty much like stand-up, so I went to the Stand-Up New York, it was called even. I was still there, like comedy club on the Upper West Side. Had to do like 5 minutes, never done stand-up before, you know what I mean? I was an actor, so I wasn't like, I was confidently naive, but yeah.
Was there not like a live audience?
Full audience, tiny stage like the size of this table, so it was really all about, you know, your words, basically. And I wasn't used to that at all. People smoking and shit, you know, like they couldn't care less unless you garnered their attention. I didn't really know how to do that, so it was just terrifying. But then, you know, like a day later, I got a call back and I was in the studio. So that was in front of cameras and stuff. I was, you know, used to that. So that one felt a little better. But, you know, still, you know, I didn't have material, basically. Like, I was used to, like, performing scripts, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't have, like, a don't you hate airplanes or whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? And then a week went by, I went home back to LA. I was living in LA at the time, and I didn't hear anything for, like, a week. And then they finally called, and it was like, all right, we want you to try one more time, stand up again at the Improv, or no, the Laugh Factory in LA or whatever. Now we want 10 minutes, you know what I mean, kind of thing. It was, you know, it was a headache, but I made it through, you know. Like, I remember being, like, dehydrated, like drinking out of the bathroom sink because it was like I didn't want to go back and forth to the bar and be a distraction or whatever. So, but I just couldn't quench my thirst. I was bugging, like literally bugging. I had auditioned for lots of things, but like this was SNL, you know what I mean? This is the once in a lifetime kind of, it's going to stay with you if you don't get it kind of thing. You know what I mean? So like, I'd never been that nervous in my life, but my one good friend was in the audience, so I just performed straight to my buddy. You know what I mean? Just making each other laugh kind of thing.
First audition, was Lorne Michaels in the audience as well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I saw him pull up even. I was waiting outside, like, hanging out. My buddy Kel was actually there, and we hadn't, like, seen each other in a while, too. So it was a lot going on. Like, yeah, it was a lot.
And it makes me think of, you know, relating to an athlete. You know, you dream of something for a very long time. Now you get this opportunity. You go to training camp where you're playing this big game, and the trick is to just stay so present, right? And not think about the outcome, not think about what's going to happen if I do good, do bad. How do you stay in the moment and just do what you do?
Yeah. It's tough.
It's tough. And you learn, obviously, through experience. Yeah. But that really is the trick. When a big game, or for you there, like a big audition, how do you perform and stick with the process? We always talk about stick with the process. That's what you need to focus at.
Sure, but you don't really know that when you're the first audition or the first ID camp. You're too young to appreciate.
Not at all.
Or to have
Nike tries to tell you, you know what I mean? Just do it. You know, you kind of just got to get out there and do it. Like, otherwise you'll never know. Like, there's no way to give you the confidence or give you the courage beforehand, unfortunately. Like, you know, as a parent, that's the worst thing. You have to watch your child like, I can't do this for you. You know what I mean? Like, you have to do it, like, unfortunately. Yeah. And then, you know, it's the proudest moment when they actually overcome, of course. But I would love to just, you know, give them all the tools and all the anything, you know what I mean, like courage and, you know, confidence and skill sets and whatnot. But it's like, no, you have to, like, sharpen those tools yourself and, you know, jump off those diving boards into the deep end, you know what I mean? And, like, start swimming, like, straight up.
For you, you know, at what point did you feel, okay, this is home, I belong here? Did it take a couple months, years? Like,
it was years. You know, they invite you back every season. So every summer, you know, they have the option. You sign, like, an overall kind of, like, first 7-year kind of stretch where they set the numbers, basically, you know, pretty much the same for everybody in the first 7 years, unless you just become a movie star and then they have to renegotiate or whatever. Yeah. But usually it's, you know, 7-year contract where they option you every summer, basically. So you know, coming from, like, I'd been living in LA or whatever and, like, doing the actor hustle out there, you know, I had, like, 1 foot in and 1 foot out of New York for, like, 3-4 years until I felt like, you know, oh, okay.
A little stability.
Like, yeah, like around 5, and I started, like, getting my own ideas turned into, like, sketches that actually made the show as opposed to, like, things that, like, fall by the wayside for whatever reason. Or there's table read fall-offs or dress rehearsal, like, just this close, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, like, about, like, 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Does
while.
it feel like your show now? I mean, everybody talks about it as your show now. But for
Yeah.
you, like, given...
I mean, I'm definitely, like, the vet there, you know, and it doesn't stress me. The only, like, I sing the warm-up song. That stresses me more than doing the show at this point, you know? Like, just because it's, to me, it's a little, like, forced karaoke because, like, they're coming to see a comedy show and then we hop up there and, like, sing a song.
Right.
And they just have to take it. And, like, I think it's good, but, like, I hope they think it's good. Like, they clap. So I just, it's just a part of, like, you know, the showbiz, like, presenting a show, kind of, like, setting the tone, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Musical theater kind of tone, and, you know, kind of like giving them a little taste of the cast before, you know, it's televised or something like that. Like,
Do you get nervous?
every single time?
Awesome.
Like every single, and I sing it twice, you know, every Saturday, like dress rehearsal and the live show. Like, you know, that's how we open the show, you know.
Yeah.
But it's out of my comfort zone. Like, I'm not an opera singer. I'm not a trained singer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I sung in musical theater growing up and, like, church choir, but, like, yeah, like, I'm not an R&B singer. I'm not T-Pain.
Is that what makes you nervous, singing or the actual show? Okay, we're going live, the light goes on, and it's game time.
That singing is what
It's
makes
the
me
singing,
nervous.
really.
Stand-up makes me nervous, yes, but acting and being a performer is kind of my wheelhouse. So, like, I get excited for that.
Yeah.
Like, I
Do
don't
you
get,
have
I don't
a,
get
like
nervous.
I call it pregame, but for you, it's pre-show routine?
It's mostly pacing. You know what I mean? Like, you just feel it. Like, you feel the time coming, and, like, I just can't sit still. So, like, I have to go, usually get dressed for the warm-up like it's a whole nother little outfit, or, like, get your makeup done. You know what I mean? Like, last-minute checks or whatever. And I'm always finished, like, 10 minutes early. So I'm just, like, standing there in the hall, like, just staring at it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just waiting on it. Like, call me out there. You know? Like, I'm just, like, I'm here.
Yeah.
You know? Like, waiting on the flag, basically.
When you were a kid, did you have a particular idol on the show, which is like, this guy does it all? This is the Hall of Fame for me.
Yeah, I mean, you know, in the black household growing up, it was, you know, Eddie was the king. You know what I mean? Like, untouchable, because he did it for a short amount of time, but he did it long enough to where he was, like, he was dedicated. Like, it wasn't like he was there for a year, like Chevy or whatever. He was there for, like, almost like 3.5 or whatever. And in that time, was a giant movie star at the same time, and then kind of just had to just move on. You know what I mean? So, like, that was always, like, something to aspire to, because it didn't seem like he just came to, like, fuck it off or, like, use it. You know what I mean? Like, he was really contributing. You know, him and Piscopo were tight and stuff like that. So that was cool. And as the eras went along, you know, different casts come in and stuff like that. So I loved a lot of different comics. I mean, I think Farley was definitely one of my favorites, just because, you know, he represented the big dudes, and, you know, in a different kind of fashion. Like, he could fall down, but he could also be really smart, you know. So yeah.
And what's the schedule like when you start airing all these shows? Say, like, Monday, do you start prepping Monday for Saturday show? And
Yeah,
do you all get together with the new host, or
It's
how
a
does it work?
6-day week. Yeah, it's Monday we have the pitch meeting. Basically, we're later in the day kind of thing. You know, it's a night schedule basically. But yeah, like around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we all gather in Lauren's office and, like, sit on the floor, and, like, the host is there, and we all go around the room and pitch an idea or two or whatever that we're thinking about, like whether or not we're actually going to write it. Most of the time it's just for a reaction in the room basically, but that lasts for like 40-ish minutes, and then we're done. You can either start writing or, you know, set your meetings for tomorrow, which is Tuesday, which is the main writing night. And that night goes for forever because the deadline is Wednesday morning at like 11. So people sleep in the office, or some people finish early, whatever it is. Like,
wow.
You know, the legends where everybody would just, you know, burn the midnight oil till the next day and, like, never sleep and blah, blah, blah. But I got kids, you know what I'm saying? I've been getting out of there at midnight for like the last 10 years at least. So that is for the younger crowd, I think. And then Wednesday's a table read at like 2 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon, something like that. It's like 4 hours kind of thing.
And by Wednesday, do you have a sense like, oh, this is good or this is dog shit?
By Wednesday night, we kind of know, basically, because now we know who can read and who can't. You know what I mean? Like host-wise kind of thing, and what we need to do to like cater to that and make sure that they have the best experience possible. I mean, it's a lot to ask for people to just be like, you know, how high does your education go kind of thing. Like, you know, you don't want to do that. You just like let it be discovered. And then we adjust accordingly.
And then you wind it back.
Yeah.
So is there a stereotype of like on the ideal host for you? Like, do you think, oh, I have an athlete coming on, they're going to be garbage or great? Or
I mean,
versus a musician,
honestly, like the more fish out of water, the better. You know, like we love athletes. Like anybody weird allows us to like discover like various topics. You know, as opposed to like, you know, performers where it's like, oh, we all already kind of know what they do well. Like Melissa McCarthy will come in and she'll like have like 4 ideas already, and there's only 6 in the show. You know what I mean? So like more than half the show will just be done already. You know, and like thank God she's genius. But it doesn't offer a lot of opportunity for like new thought, you know what I mean, or new people to get their things on,
or the awkwardness that is funny by definition.
For sketch, you know, like sketch can be so like abstract as you know as you want it to be, and that's when it's fun. So like athletes bring that out.
Is there anybody that came in and really surprised you? Like
Bad Bunny,
so many ideas and like
Bad Bunny just killed it. Like you know, for like a second, you know, language, like English being a second language kind of thing, like that was. It seemed like it was a mountain to climb, you know, and he really did a great job. Like he wasn't nervous about it, and he wasn't shy about it either.
And so hosts are with you from table read on Wednesday?
They're there for Monday.
Yeah.
Like we pitch to the host. On Monday. And then Tuesday they have meetings with some writers and see what everybody's thinking or offering what voices maybe they can do. You know what I mean? And then, Thursday, Friday's rehearsal. Friday's like a pre-tape day. Yeah. So you have rehearsal and pre-tapes going at the same time. Friday's kind of chaotic. And then, we're in at noon on Saturday until the show at 11:30 at night.
What a wild experience. Yeah. We talk about post-show routine. So I have a buddy who used to write for SNL for many, many years. And he always told me that the responsibility for the after party rotated among cast members.
Oh, yeah.
Is that still happening?
No. Somebody, I think Wally kind of grabbed it, our cue card guy. I think he grabbed it and was like, I'll just handle it. Yeah, week after week. Yeah, that started falling through the cracks a little bit. I started throwing parties, and then it was kind of like thankless a little bit. You know what I mean? Like some people would get, left outside or some shit. It was just like too much because like SNL rolls deep. Like every time we have like those little after parties at like a restaurant or whatever, it'll be quiet at first, and then all of a sudden there's 500 people there. You know what I mean? And they can never handle the rush, like ever. Try to prepare them every single time. They're always overwhelmed within like 40 minutes, you know what I mean? And then like nobody's getting drinks, nobody's getting food.
After we prepare for the show, after we prepare for the after party.
You know what I mean? Trying to tell the world like, yo, get ready. So it's the same thing for like the after party when it was at like clubs and like, ropes and shit like that. People would be getting left outside because it was just like all of a sudden it was just a mob scene.
Right.
So I was like, I'm good on that. Somebody else can handle that.
But so away from the show, like when you're out meeting people, do people expect you to be funny all the time?
I think so. Yeah. Some people do. Like, I guess.
Is that exhausting? Or you just...
No, because they learn pretty quick. You know what I mean? Like within the first couple like interactions, like, oh no, he's like an actual adult or just chilling or he's different from how he is. Like however they take it, I think they notice like pretty immediately. Some are happy and some kind of want to hear a joke.
Right.
And I let a lot of people down with that, I think.
So how often do you think about material, jokes, characters? Is that something
when they strike, I try to write them down because I can use that. You know what I mean? But I don't really I can't sit down and be like, all right, what do I want to write? I have to like have an inspiration before, like at least a day or so. Like on the day, it'll never come. Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll come, but like it won't be anything substantial. You know what I mean? Like usually when something like sparks me funny, I'm like, oh wow, and I write that down and it's at any given moment throughout the week. Yep. A lot of the times it's on Sunday and it would have worked great for that last show, you know what I'm saying? But like whatever, you try to just like bank things for a similar host in the future or whatever it is kind of thing. But
Yeah.
The pressure of in the moment is a little too much for me.
How about when you meet people like celebrities, especially? Do you pay attention to how they act, what they say, in case that would come back and it's like, oh, that would be great material? Do you know what I mean? Do you scan them a little bit?
If they're characters, like if they have, an accent or anything like that, like yours is coming out now, so like
Yeah.
I'll know if somebody is playing you well or not, kind of thing. Like haven't met you, but my buddy Daryl is like that. He like a real precise impressionist kind of thing. I'm more of an actor, so like my awareness of an impression is within like 3 seconds of watching them on YouTube. I'm like, Clarence Thomas, what does he sound like? You know what I mean? And I like watch a clip and I'm like, oh, he's just a nerd from wherever the fuck. And that's my take on him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like Daryl, when he was doing, I think Trump back in the day, he went and like met, no, it was Bill Clinton. When he like went and sat with Bill Clinton like for like a half a day or whatever and like studied his mannerisms and shit like that.
Real
And that's why he
method
was
stuff.
like really nailing him like that. So,
And do you have a buddy or somebody that you used as a sounding board? Like, hey, is this funny? Like, what do you think of this? Or does it, like, who do you trust for that stuff?
I try to not do that to people because like a lot of stand-ups do that to people. You know what I mean? Like if you talk to a stand-up comic, you're like, are we having a conversation or are you just like
testing shit?
Yeah, right.
Right.
So like I'll save it for, just the table and see like, this will just be our test for, because it's, not necessarily a forced test, but it's everybody's gathered here for this reason kind of thing. So it doesn't seem like disingenuous, like I like being able to just talk to people, and if we laugh, we laugh, what I mean? But like hate to be like,
be a human being.
Like you ever notice like how slow Mazdas are sometimes? I don't know, like not really. What are we talking
why
about?
Why is he talking about Mazdas?
But when you talk about comedy, like what is it? The material? Is it timing? Like to you, what's the? I'm not gonna say what's the most important thing with comedy? Is it the timing?
That's tough because it takes a kind of perfect storm there's a lot of factors for things to kind of go right, if you will, especially on a televised version of things. So you have sound effects, you have camera cuts, you have this, that, you know what I mean? There's a lot going on. But as far as like just a good solid laugh, it's performing it, timing, but what you're saying is, subject matter is critical. Like the greatest comics are usually very, very smart people. Like if you watch, Seth, who's brilliant, like he might be one of the smartest people walking. Colbert too, you know what I mean? Like these people are like really, really like strong at being funny because they're so smart and they curate things and they storytell in a certain kind of way and blah, blah, blah kind of thing.
And how much do you feed off of crowd or the person you're doing the scene with?
Yeah.
Is that a lot? And you go off script because of whatever he's saying or how much the crowd is laughing?
I'm definitely listening to everything. You know what I mean? Like I have to like, I don't like cutting short laughs. Like if they're really laughing at something, like let them have it. Like I know I got a line coming up, but like they're enjoying something. Like I'm just going to be like, hey, cut that out because I got something to say next or whatever kind of thing.
The Honda Accord joke's coming next.
Like I love that. I'm like, oh, this is going great. Like good for the writer, good for good for the show. Like I'm a fan, so I let things kind of milk out as long as possible until it starts to get quiet, and then you got to move things on or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And then if you're a fan of your coworker, it makes it all the more sweeter. Like especially if they're doing the lifting and I kind of just have my front row seat or whatever, kind of just watching and being a supportive kind of person.
Can that become a goal to have whoever you're doing the scene with to break character because you make him laugh so much?
Oh yeah,
like you try to make him laugh so much that he loses it a little bit.
That was the game when we did Scared Straight, and like we knew Bill liked to kind of like be played with like that, you know what I mean? So the game became like, can we break Bill? Like who's gonna break Bill, either the most or the fastest? So between like me, Sudeikis, Bobby Moynihan, and Sandberg, we were all like, aiming at him in different kind of ways throughout that sketch. It was fun. And then especially by the time we had done it like 5 or 6 times, like it was just like, let me stick my finger in his ear, you know what I mean? Like, let's just see what we can do. And like I wouldn't move on from the moment until I broke him. You know what I'm saying? Like that became the game.
As an athlete, you train every day. You kind of repeat same drills over and over to become better and better. As a comedian, how do you get funnier? Like what's you know what I'm saying? Like I have my plan to get better as a hockey player.
Mm-hmm.
And you train for months and you skate and we watch tape and you how do you become funnier? And do you watch your shows and like review and say, okay, I need to do that better, or how does it work?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like review too hard, but I definitely notice everything. You know what I mean? And like some things just happen. Some things I'm like, shit, I heard my voice crack, or I heard this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. And then some things can be improved upon, but our show is live, so there's no get back. So you kind of like got to let that go and just be like, all right, next time if I write something, maybe I won't write so many sound effects so it won't be so complicated and I can just control everything. You know what I mean? Like I'll control all the cues. I'll control like when the band kicks in, like they'll all be cued off of me because if it's my sketch, it's my timing. You know what I'm saying? So it frustrates me when things are in other people's hands. You just get too nervous, kind of like letting people have control over the fate of your sketch kind of thing.
So when does that happen? Just what you're talking about, the analyzing what happened. Is that after the show or Sunday morning or?
A bit of both. It's during the experience of it all, and then it rolls over into Sunday where you're just like hyper analyzing and like, and then Monday, it's a new host, so you kind of got to let it go by then. But yeah, like in the moment, and Sunday you're kind of processing a lot.
And what about all the evolution to Hank's earlier point? Like, how do you keep growing? Is it just experience and being in the moment?
I think writing. Like writing will lead you to that kind of growth. Like writing leads to like seeking out more knowledge. Because it's like you got to write something. So like, what am I going to write? Maybe I need to go learn about something, or it might push you to just be more social. Like stand-ups, I think, get better by being around each other, kind of thing, and being around, kind of testing a thought basically, and constantly kind of doing that back and forth or whatever. And yeah, just by doing it, over and over, like you said, just practicing this, that, and the other. But, our practice is at a high level, and it's a one chance at it, like even if you've like done it well all week, it doesn't matter, like if you fuck it up during a live show, then that's what everybody remembers, and like that's what they mark down as a win or a loss. And that helps the decisions of calling you back every summer. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot on like the young cast members' mind. Like for me, it's like this is season 21, and like I'm blessed to find new things. Like I'm blessed to find Coach Prime. You know what I mean, and stuff like that, or be involved in the George Washington weights and measurement sketch. You know what I mean? Like that sketch was brilliant. So. If I was not on the show anymore, I wouldn't have been in the sketch. Like that's just kind of how it goes.
Yeah. 21 years. Obviously, the world is different now. How you do comedy might be a little different. Is it? Have your approach changed a little bit just because of, I don't know, are people more sensitive these days? Like what you can joke about and not? And
yeah, I mean the approach is pretty much the same. Like my sense of humor is kind of my starting place basically with most ideas. It's like if something struck me funny, it's like, all right, so like let me back up and see how to like put this into like a 10-page journey for people like that weren't just sitting next to me on the couch when I noticed something funny, right? And then the way you word things, adjectives, there's a lot of new sensibilities to a lot of different words now, so you got to be careful. And you learn that when you say something and it gets a groan or it gets nothing, and you thought it was going to get something.
Right.
Basically, it's like, oh, snap. Like, I guess I'm behind the time.
It feels like comedy used to be a more protected art form
It definitely wasn't as detrimental on both sides of things. You know what I mean? Like, there's real life victims, and then there's real, like, career victims as well. Like people just saying the wrong things or being insensitive, and it's just, like, exiting themselves out the door, basically. So... It's a interesting, it's a high time for responsibility, that is. And that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No, not a bad thing
but
at all.
it makes doing comedy hard.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, you mentioned Dave earlier and like what he's been through.
You know, and he's one of those last voices that's like that. Like it's the comedian's job to talk shit or whatever. And, unfortunately at the same time, you have like certain oppressed kind of cultures out there that are voicing back, basically. You know what I mean? And like, because of like I said, like real life victims, you know, like if everybody was able to like take a joke and we could all like just continue our lives and it was no big deal, it would be the 80s, but it's not the 80s.
Yeah, good point.
But do you see yourself stay at SNL for another 20 years?
Stay forever.
I mean, well,
yeah, I mean,
it seems like you're really enjoying it.
I love it, and there's not going to be another job like it. Like I've had other jobs. Like I was an actor long before I got there, you know. So I've done the whole hustle of auditioning and this, that, and the other, and you know, it's just getting back to that is not necessarily that exciting. You know, stability has been a nice kind of thing, or you know, predictability, you know, if you will, especially for you know an actor for hire. Like it's tough, and especially if you have a family. That's what SNL has, you know, kind of been great for me as. But at the same time, I don't know if I can just stay there forever. Like, you know, there's, you know, room for other people to come, you know, up behind me and stuff like that. I never felt like I was in the way because the cast is huge right now. You know what I mean? So I don't know how like one person is in the way. But at the same time, you know, you have to allow for growth, and you know. But it's not my fault. They keep calling me. You know what I'm saying? Like, It's not like I'm like.
So you're waiting for that call every summer.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the fact that you've been there for 21 years.
It's
you
not
still
official.
don't know if it's going to be 22.
It's not official until it's official. You know what I'm saying?
What date? Is it like mid?
It's like in the summer. So like they give you the summer to stress. Yeah. Like it's like in August.
But so you've been in New York City also then, obviously, for a long time. What's your relationship to the city and
now I'm like, you know, people think I'm from here, you know, like I've lived here longer than I lived in my hometown or anywhere else kind of thing. So I've learned it in and out, you know, and like kind of all the states around it, you know what I mean? The boroughs, like I've seen a lot and I love it. You know what I mean? Like what's not to love? There's a lot of like individualism, like just it's a one of a kind of place, you know? So as the individual, how do you stand out amongst, you know, millions or whatever? Like you feel that energy of people just trying to be creative or like climb that mountain of success if it's not, you know, a generational thing that's going to be passed to you kind of thing.
Yeah. And I see you at the Garden a lot. Knicks,
love
Rangers. You're a big sports fan.
Yeah. I you know, grew up playing football, basketball, baseball, like the big three when, you know, through the 80s or whatever, as far as like driveway games are concerned, you know? Yeah. But yeah, and then hockey came later once I did the Mighty Ducks or whatever. But I fell in love with hockey. Like I was always aware of it, but it was like kind of like a white thing, you know what I mean? And you know, there was no like hockey rinks in Georgia that I was aware of kind of thing. So yeah, we grew up playing like the warm sports, if you will, warmish.
What was it about hockey that attracted you? Was it the intensity or?
Well, like when I was learning about it, when we started doing the Mighty Ducks and shit, I couldn't believe they were out there without helmets, number one, back in the day and stuff like that. Like the Jason mask, I don't think I connected the two dots that was actually the goalie mask because it was so thin and like they didn't cover much. You know what I mean? I mean, like these dudes are getting pucks fired and like, you know, Bobby Holt, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, like this dude's firing shit at you, like, and that's all you have to, yeah. And then like just missing teeth and the fighting, you know, like it's the one sport where everybody just knuckles up. Like that shit's crazy.
Yeah.
So like I remember the games that started like putting fighting into the games and stuff like that.
Like EA Sports. Yeah.
And that was great. And then seeing it live and seeing how fast it is and like how just like it's an onslaught.
To me, when I talk to people that maybe didn't grow up watching it or don't watch it at all, you almost have to go watch it live.
Yeah.
That's how you win people over, and they get the
And then
feel
you're
of the
hooked.
intensity in the building, and
Right.
find it maybe a little easier to follow than watching on TV. But obviously also high quality TV now when you can actually you see the puck a lot better these days than like 20, 25 years ago. I remember coming into the league in 2005, and we always break down my games and we watch tape, and like 10 years into my career, we went back to look at some old tape. And I'm like, I couldn't believe how hard it was to watch, to see the puck.
Yeah.
But
just a little dot out there.
Yeah, it looks
yeah,
like you're
exactly.
watching Sega NHL 95.
Exactly.
What are they chasing?
but I feel like if you get people to come and watch it live, a lot of times they're kind of surprised just how intense it is, and the fans obviously also, especially here in New York, watching here, it's special.
And yeah, you feel more involved once you like really understand what to get excited for. Same for me, like watching soccer like through my daughter's eyes and like finally understanding like, oh, this is an exciting moment building up, as opposed to like there's just it looks like a lot of running to me.
You know, you accomplish so much. I think of all the different sketches you've done, and it makes me laugh so much. I just want to know, is there anything you feel like that I want to accomplish that I haven't reached that area yet, or you're staying in your lane right now and you want to just continue? Or
Oh no, I definitely like have, you know, more milestones for sure as far as like an actor's trajectory is concerned. You know, SNL's just been, you know, a dope chapter that's, you know, a thick one.
Yeah.
But, you know, I still want to like do a Bad Boys movie or something that's cool, like, you know, falling to the wayside, shooting at something and saving somebody's life, or, you know, any of those kind of like making a cool movie kind of things is concerned, or set of movies or whatever. But, you know, getting into like producing and stuff, like
you have a production
company and stuff. Yeah, it's going to be a good one, and like I think it has the potential to grow into something like very, you know, to be reckoned with, if you will, kind of thing. Just trying to like look out for the actors that like build these things. You know, like I say this a lot, but I think about, you know, Michael Keaton in Beetlejuice, and like. He got paid in the 1980s, probably like 30, 40, 50, 100 grand, whatever it was. But like it's on Broadway right now, and it's got merch, and it's doing this, that, and the other. And like
he hasn't seen it.
He should have a piece, you know? And like it doesn't have to be a big piece, but a small piece of something that's been making money for 50 years is, you know, it makes a difference, in my opinion. And it seems like that's what's really fair, you know, not just the roll of the dice that you might, you know, get a Julia Roberts moment where you're, you know, kind of whatever that movie was that she made $50 million on the back end, Aaron Brockovich. Yeah, you get like an Aaron Brockovich moment. Not everybody's going to have that, you know what I mean, from the beginning. But if you wind up doing something that does end up blowing up, you know, whatever. Everybody should be able to like celebrate in that in a way. Yeah.
Well, listen, we really appreciate you coming on the show.
Man.
We're big fans. Keep killing it every
Thank
Saturday.
You, man. Thank you, man.
Awesome. And
Thank you,
I
man.
look forward to see you.
How are you passing the time? Past like podcasting and stuff, man?
I just enjoy life.
Yeah.
You know, I went from all focus on performance and try to get better to now it's more about having fun.
Love it.
Have fun, be inspired, make sure I have great people around me. So a lot of work around the garden, which I love. It feels like family.
Trick-or-treating. Yeah.
Trick-or-treating.
Yeah, exactly.
Being a dad.
Travel a lot. But it's more about having fun now. And I think just find that inspiration through different things. Hockey gave me so much inspiration, motivation, passion. Now I'm just looking for different things I'm not going to try to match what hockey gave me, but I'm still looking to feel something, experience something.
Yeah.
That was a lot of the motivation behind this, which is like, how do you think about a next thing?
Yeah.
Building a next chapter.
Right.
And the best way is just to put yourself, collide with Keenan, collide with, you know, and start to intersect with all these interesting people.
Yep.
Gain
the party's happening, man. The party's happening whether you go to it or
especially
not.
In New York. You know, like if you can say no to it or yes or whatever, but if you're not intentional about anything, it kind of passes you by.
Yeah.
And then you're wasting. You know, you're in the best city in the world, and I'm sitting at home. Or
I spent a lot of my first years like not going to Broadway, you know, because our schedules don't necessarily coincide, but you do have your Sundays, you know, maybe you can squeeze it in on Monday. You just have to make an effort kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was mad at myself because they're really, really great, you know, and there's a lot of great things going on out there. You just got to embrace it and try to find something that will intrigue you, like you said, and continue to like build you as a person. That's amazing. Well, cheers to you and your journey, man.
Cheers for coming on the
cheers,
show.
Keenan.
Appreciate
cheers
it.
to you guys.
Pleasure.
Thanks for the chat.
You.
Most thank you.
I'll
Thank
see
you for the water.
You might be at the game tonight. So
yeah.
See you there.
Let's get that W, man.
Thanks again to Keenan for coming on Club 30. Anything that surprised you?
I don't know about surprise me, but I love hearing about the process, especially in areas where I know nothing. I know nothing about comedy, and I never will. I can appreciate it as a fan, but just hearing about his process, how he prepares every week, I thought was really fascinating. How about you?
I think the biggest thing for me, he's the veteran. He's been there for 20 years. He's a huge part of SNL. But still, you don't know if you're coming back for the next year. That surprised me.
Super stressful when you think you've earned your keep, right, and paid all of your dues in the league.
There's no 5-year contracts here.
Right. You're not signing like a supermax, take you to retirement. There's no real idea of stability in that model. It's like the next funniest guy gets the job.
I loved it. It was great.
Me too. He's so humble and so chill. It was just a really nice kind of vibe in here. Another great member for Club 30.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great week. And we'll see you guys soon back here at Club 30.
Yeah. Love to have you as members. So if you like what you heard or saw, we'd love a like, a subscription, a follow. Welcome you into the Club 30 membership. Thanks again. See you next week.